Anthony, and he's from the Fireside Giants channel. It's an excellent YouTube channel. You should definitely check it out. It has awesome Giants content, and he also writes articles for Empire Sports Media. So I want to thank you for coming on the show, and how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. Really looking forward to talking some potential New York Giants Pro Bowlers. It should be fun.
Yeah, so we were going to talk about the Giants that are going to make the Pro Bowl or possibly have the best chance of making the Pro Bowl on the offense. So I actually said that the Giants offense is more likely to have more Pro Bowlers than the Giants defense. And you thought the Giants defense has more guys that are in the Pro Bowl conversation. So my first question for you is, which Giants offensive players have the best chance of making the Pro Bowl besides Saquon Barkley? Because we all know Saquon has the best chance, but besides that, who has the best chance of making the Pro Bowl in your opinion?
Well, of course, Saquon Barkley's a no-brainer, and I'd say the dark horse candidate would be Daniel Jones, because if he does take off this season, the quarterback taking off in the New York market, that could definitely propel him into a Pro Bowl candidacy. But I don't think that's very likely, him entering his second season. I still think there's going to be a lot of kinks to work out in terms of his progression and entering a new offensive scheme with Jason Garrett. I'd say in this offensive scheme with Jason Garrett, it really utilizes the tight end. If Evan Engram is able to stay healthy all 16 games, he's a serious Pro Bowl candidate to me. I think when he's healthy, he's a top 5, top 10 tight end in the NFL. And I think that with this new scheme, he could really take off if he's healthy. I know that's always the problem with Evan Engram, but the talent is there. We saw the first 3 weeks of the season in 2019. He was playing excellent, and then things started to go downhill once he started to get injured. His body just wears down really quickly, and of course his 2017 season where he completely lit it up as a rookie. He obviously had a lot more targets that season because we had a lot of injuries, but it just goes to show that when he's utilized properly, he can be a serious difference maker and perform as one of the best tight ends in the league. So if he stays healthy this season with Jason Garrett's offense, I could really see him having a breakout year.
Yeah, I totally agree with your assessment. I think Ingram hasn't actually been utilized correctly early in his career with Ben McAdoo early on, and then obviously with Shermer.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to use him a little bit more in the slot, and I could see him getting vertical downfield a little bit more because I think the offensive line will actually be improved. Hopefully, I think the key to the offense is going to be the offensive line. Is there any offensive lineman on the team that you think has a legitimate chance at a Pro Bowl this season? Because it's kind of crazy. Last year, we didn't have one Pro Bowl player, and I know we were a bad team, but it's kind of crazy not having one player from the Giants. So do you see any of the offensive linemen possibly making the Pro Bowl this year? And which of those guys do you think would have the best chance?
Yeah, no Pro Bowlers last year, which is super disappointing because I actually go to school in DeLand, Florida, which is about an hour from Orlando. And so I'm also a Disney pass holder. So I was planning on going down to the Pro Bowl, try and meet some Giants players, and then go to Disney, all of that. But the Giants didn't have anybody there. So I didn't end up going. That was pretty disappointing. But in terms of the offensive line, I do see one player that I think has a chance of being a Pro Bowler. Kevin Zeitler, I think he's one of the best pass-blocking guards in the NFL, and he doesn't get enough credit. He's never been to a Pro Bowl, which is really surprising to me because he's been really good for a really long time. And I think that maybe this year, if the Giants are a winning team and they're doing well and he continues to play at a high level, maybe this will be the year that he finally gets the recognition that he deserves.
Yeah, I agree with you about Zeitler. I think out of all the offensive linemen, he has the best chance. And I'm actually from Florida, too. I'm in South Florida. And one year, I went to the Madden Bowl, which was actually
nice.
the same weekend as the Pro Bowl. And I didn't stay for the Pro Bowl game. But I used to kind of play Madden competitively, and I went to watch like the competitive Madden players play. And they had a lot of events in Orlando at Disney and around where ESPN is. So yeah, it would be cool if some Giants were finally there this year.
Which part of Florida do you live in?
I'm in Palm Beach County.
So am I. That's where I live.
Are you really?
That's where I am right now. That's unbelievable.
It's a small world. Yeah.
How did we not know this? That's crazy.
That's so fun. I had no idea you were from Florida. I just assume you're a Giants guy, that you're from like New York and New Jersey.
Yeah, I was born on Long Island. I lived there till I was like 10, but then we moved down here 2011, and then I moved back and forth a couple times, but I've been here since 2011.
Yeah, I actually moved from Long Island too.
Oh, nice.
I'm from
Which
Suffolk
area?
County, Northport.
I was in Glen Cove, so
Oh, okay. My dad actually lives in Glen Cove right now, so
that's crazy,
it's a
man. A lot of
small
connections
world.
there. It really
Yeah,
is.
that's crazy. Yeah, and we both live in Palm Beach County, but yeah, it's crazy. I hope I would actually like to go to the Pro Bowl, like if everything returns to normal and fans could go to games again, and then we some Giants will be there after a somewhat successful season. I'm actually picking the Giants to go 9-7. I know that's kind of too optimistic according to most people, but do you foresee, because we're talking about the offense and the guys who have the best chance of making the Pro Bowl, do you foresee a top 10 offense for the Giants? Because I really do think the offense is way ahead of the defense. And with the improved offensive line, I think our starting receivers are good enough. So do you agree with that assessment that the offense is kind of way ahead of the defense at this point, or do you disagree with that?
I think I would agree. I think there's more, like the average talent level is higher on the offense than it is for the defense. There's a lot of holes on the defense. Not as many on the offense after this offseason, really, after this draft. I think we really shored up the offensive line, which was super important. But I'm not sure if I'm ready to predict the top 10 offense out of this unit yet. I still think there's going to be growing pains for Daniel Jones, being that he's entering a second season and he's already got to learn a second playbook. That might be difficult and challenging, especially considering everything going on in the world, making it difficult for the players to practice together and get into the training facility with coaches. That's still not allowed. Training camp is supposed to start July 28th. I really hope that happens. But it's been a difficult offseason. Who knows how well he's been able to pick up on the playbook so far. I just think there is going to be growing pains. I think there's going to be major improvements as well. I definitely expect a good season out of Daniel Jones, but top 10 offense, I would love to see it, but I don't think it's completely likely.
Yeah, I think you make some really good points about this kind of crazy offseason, and I think they would really benefit from having those mini camps. And
Yeah.
but at the same time, I just think Daniel Jones is such a hard worker, and he seems like he takes his craft really seriously. He had the workouts in Texas with a lot of his receivers and running backs, so I think that will help. I do like him as well as like a dark horse candidate for the Pro Bowl. It's just so hard in the NFC where you have Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, all these good quarterbacks that you'd be competing against. But I do like Daniel Jones. So the last position group that I want to ask you about, because we talked about the tight ends and the quarterback, and obviously Saquon has a good chance of making the Pro Bowl because I think he's the best running back in the NFL. Which receiver on the Giants do you think would have the best chance? Because we don't really have a clear-cut number one receiver. But
Mhm.
is there one guy to you that sticks out that has like a better chance than the others of being a Pro Bowler?
I'd say they all have about an equal chance, and I don't think that chance is very high for any of the three that I'm thinking of: Golden Tate, Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton. But if I had to pick one, it would be a dark horse candidate. It would be Darius Slayton. He's not really the primary target in this offense. I think Sterling Shepard is really the primary target. He's a slot guy who goes outside and he gets the bulk of the targets, but when he's healthy at least. But with Darius Slayton, I think that there's a chance that he can explode onto the scene in a certain way. He's really unknown right now. He's kind of like Giants fans' little secret that we really admire and enjoy. But if he's able to break out and become known around the league this season, that could kind of create some hype amongst fans, and fan voting could definitely get him into the Pro Bowl if he has a breakout 1,200-yard season. Now that would be awesome. I don't think it's very likely. The way that I look at Darius Slayton, I think there's potential to be a number one wide receiver, but I don't think that he's going to be there yet, and I don't know if he's ever going to get there. I think that long term, Darius Slayton will always be a really solid number two wide receiver. And once we do get that number one wide receiver, it's going to be like defenses are really going to struggle to guard a number one wide receiver plus a number two wide receiver as good as Darius Slayton. That's the way that I see him. but he could break out in this offense and become a number one wide receiver. There's definitely the potential for that. He's got the speed. He really improved his route running last season. Early on, everything was vertical and he wasn't creating a ton of separation, but then they opened it up and he started running more slants and underneath routes, and there was massive improvement. So I could definitely see him breaking out, and if I had to pick any of those three receivers, that would be my dark horse Pro Bowl candidate.
Yeah, I agree with your assessment of Slayton. He definitely, in my opinion as well, has the highest upside of those three starting receivers. He also, in my opinion, has the lowest floor, where, you know, Tate and Shepard are both best in the slot, but they're both very solid. But Slayton has the 4.4 speed. He's more of an outside receiver, which is what we need desperately, where he can take the top off the defense a little bit. And I like what you said about at the end of the season, he was running like more routes, and
Mm-hmm.
it seemed like he was Daniel Jones' favorite target. And yeah, I could see him improving this year, but at the same time, with other weapons being healthy, him actually having like worse statistics than he did last year because he
Yeah.
did have 8 touchdowns. I could see him having maybe like 6 or 7 touchdowns, but actually being a better receiver. So, yeah, I appreciate you coming on, man. You do some great content over at Fireside Giants, and it's funny. Like whenever I type in a certain player and I want to watch their highlights, you guys are like always the first that shows up, and you always get your content out so fast and so consistently. So I give you a lot of credit for that because I just been starting to make this kind of content myself, and I realize how much work it is. So
Yeah,
to
I
wrap it
mean,
up,
I want to say thank you, man, for all those kind words. That means a lot, and I appreciate you having me on. And we really like what you're doing. The videos, the content that you're putting out is excellent. So I'm more than happy to join to do a video with you and collaborate. And once again, thank you for your kind words and for having me on.
yeah, man. I guess I'll ask you like a quick rapid fire question to wrap it up.
Sure.
Which player on the offense would you say is the most underappreciated, under the radar, or will have the biggest impact
Hmm.
that maybe it won't show up in the stat sheet, but you think can really help this offense reach a new level in 2020?
That's a good question. Off the top of my head, I have two names in mind, and that would be Nick Gates and Caden Smith. Nick Gates, if he ends up getting that starting center role, I've been watching a lot of Saquon Barkley film lately. I'm in the process of watching every single rushing attempt from the 2019 season. I have like two more games left. Something that keeps popping off the screen is how bad the center position was. A lot of missed blocks in the run game. Just a lot of really bad plays from the center position, Halapio and Pulley. So if Nick Gates is able to slide in and start at center and be an improvement, that will really help this team, like drastically. But then on the other side, Caden Smith, the reason that I think that he could be a big boost is because Jason Garrett loves to run 12 personnel. Those two tight end sets are huge in that Jason Garrett offense, and he really requires a blocking tight end. Caden Smith, I feel like if you're going to compare somebody to Jason Witten, who was, of course, amazing in the Cowboys offense for so long, it's not going to be Evan Engram. He doesn't remind you of Jason Witten at all, but Caden Smith actually does remind me a little bit of Jason Witten. He's not a really athletic guy. He's not super fast or anything, but he gets open and he's sure-handed and he's a solid blocker too. And I think that's the key there is that he can contribute as a run blocker. So I guess that would be my answer. Those two players are definitely players that I could see boosting this offense.
Yeah, I love Caden Smith. I like Gates too. I think Gates can definitely. I'm hoping he wins the center position,
Me
either him
too.
or Lemieux, because I don't think Spencer Pulley is very good. And I like what you said about the center position last year, which really held us back in a lot of ways. But yeah, I love Caden Smith. I think he's very well rounded. Somehow he always gets open, even though he doesn't look that fast, but he just knows
Yeah.
how to get open. And another tight end that I think is going to have a big impact is Levine Toilolo, not showing up like with catches, but maybe as a run blocker and then as a pass blocker too. So yeah, I do like our tight ends a lot actually. All three of them because they all can do kind of different things for the team. So yeah, I appreciate you coming on, man. This has been a lot of fun. Definitely check out Fireside Giants if you've never been there before. He puts out great content, great highlights, but all kinds of Giants content that you would like. Yeah, man. So I appreciate you coming on, and I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, just thank you for having me. Like I said, I'll just repeat what I said earlier. We think you do a great job, and we're more than happy to collaborate with you. I had a lot of fun, definitely talking some Giants, Pro Bowlers potentially. It was a good time, and I hope that we can collaborate again soon.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Definitely subscribe to Anthony over at Fireside Giants. Subscribe to me as well. And if you enjoyed this video, check out the defensive players we think have a chance at the Pro Bowl on his channel. So I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time.